If you ever wanted to hear a fairy tale about a predator who gets totally owned by the girl he's trying to victimize, this is the story for you. It's called The Girl Outwits Three Men from Palestine. It's got major Law and Order SVU vibes. A rich man wants to go on the pilgrimage to Mecca, and his wife wants to go with him, and his son wants to go with him. His daughter also wants to go with him, but he says, no, I'll take the rest of them, but not you. You are too precious to take on the road. Something could happen to you. Instead, I'm gonna lock you up with provisions inside our house, and I'm gonna get a sheik from the local mosque to keep an eye on you and bring you fresh food up through a window if you need it. The family leaves our girl alone, and that sheik actually just totally forgets about her for a while until one day he's looking out his window and he sees her in her window braiding her hair, and it says her hair was as dark as the night against which her white arms gleamed like a sword. He gets absolutely obsessed, and so he goes to take her food and just wants to look at her while she lowers the basket down, but she must already have creep vibes because she doesn't let him look at her as she's pulling the food up. He's losing his mind, so he goes to an old matchmaker and she's like, leave it to me. I'll get you face to face with this girl. The old woman calls up to her window and she's like, I'm going on a long trip. I've got this trunk full of really important stuff. Would you watch this trunk for me? And if I never come back from my trip, you can have it. And the girl's like, okay, I guess I'll do that. So the old woman gets this trunk big enough for a man. The sheik hides inside of it and she has it delivered to the girl, who she makes promise that she'll put it right next to her bed to keep it safe. Well, that night, the sheik pops out of the trunk. She's horrified, but she's a well-bred girl, so she brews him coffee and is like, welcome, sheik. He drank it as if sitting on hot embers, and then finally said, it is late. Roll out the bedding so that we may lie down. She's like, no. And he says, no one will see us, and as soon as your dad returns, I'll ask him for your hand. So, sleep with me now. Girl says, let's play a game of chess. If you win, I'll do whatever you want. But if I win, you've got to let me do to you whatever I want. He agrees, they play, and she wins. And she jumps up, snatches a rope that was hanging on the wall, tied him up from head to toe, and then pushed a turnip into his rump right up to the leaves. Then she threw him out the window onto the street. So he's on the street, tied up, with a turnip up his butt, humiliated. Someone finally finds him and he ashamedly goes home, vowing to kill her. So he sends a letter to her father, who is on his way back from the pilgrimage, saying, hey, your daughter's been a tramp. She turned your home into a house of shame, letting anyone come up inside who wanted to. The dad reads the letter and tells his son, hey, it's honor killing time. Your sister's brought us dishonor. Nothing but her blood will wash it clean. Go to town, kill her, and bring me her blood in a jar. Which is actually a little Snow White. And like Snow White, the brother gets home first, says, hey sister, let's go on a walk in the woods. And as they go out there, he starts to soften towards her and realizes, oh, I can't kill her. She goes to sleep and he just abandons her in the forest and brings home the blood of a stray dog. When she realizes she's alone, she wanders in the forest, but then hears people coming, climbs up a tree. The prince of the Bedouins comes by, sees her in the tree, says, oh my gosh, you're beautiful. He takes her home to his mother, who feeds her up on sheep's brains and other tender foods. Eventually, the prince asks her to marry him. She agrees. They get married. She has 3 children. One day she's weeping and she tells her husband, I miss my family. I want to go back and see how they're doing. And he says, okay, let's take a trip. So they all travel with a big pack of camels back to her hometown. But on the way, these riders come up and they're like, hey, prince, we need your help settling this dispute. So he's like, okay, I'll let you go on, wife. I'm going to go settle this. Now he leaves her in the care of his uncle, who as soon as he's gone, starts to have the devil whispering in his ear and starts thinking things about the beautiful woman. And he's actually worse than the sheik, because once he gets her alone, when they stop to rest, he says, sleep with me right now or I'm gonna murder the child in your lap. She refuses and he murders all 3 of her children in front of her. He's about to assault her when she says, please, can I go wash up first? And he's like, okay. And she does a trick that happens a lot in Middle Eastern folklore where he puts a rope around her wrist because he's gonna give her privacy to go clean up before he victimizes her. And she takes the rope and ties it to her bracelets and ties it to a branch so that each time he pulls and hears the bracelets, he thinks she's still there, but she's running away. So those are the 2 men she outwitted. The third one is a soldier that she comes across on the seashore. He wants to abduct her and take her home with him, but she tricks him by saying, hey, any man who sees me with you is going to try to kill you to take me for himself. So give me some extra man's clothes so I can dress up as a man and ride the horse in front of you so they don't think I'm a woman. He gives her the clothes, and as soon as she gets on that horse, she kicks him off and she rides away on his horse away from there. The man decides he must have met one of the jinn and thanks God for allowing him to leave with his life. She rides to her hometown where there's a big celebration going on because her brother is getting married. Her husband and uncle, who have finally arrived without her and don't know where she is, she gets invited in as this man she's dressed up as. And when her father says, "Hey, strange young man, tell us your story of how you came here," she stands up, rips off her disguise, says, "Here's who I am, here's what really happened to me." And then she turns to her husband and she's like, "Isn't it true that I was like not a whore when you married me?" Her husband says, "She was a maiden with the seal of her maker upon her, I swear." So the father has everyone bring firewood to the house. They make a huge bonfire and they throw the sheik and the uncle into the fire and burn them to death, and they die happily ever after. Except for the years she lost and her dead children and all the other things that were bad about this. Her own father wanting to kill her. But like SVU, even though it is dark, this sense of justice and things being made right and people being on her side in the end makes it a satisfying story to read. Especially the turnip part. That's a great detail. Check out my book and podcast, links in the bio.